Dr. JP, you mentioned that a number of people come to you because they're not getting adequate results from thyroid medicine. And as an integrated medicine doctor, I'd like to really talk a little bit about that. What are the signs that they may need to come to you and work with it? What are some of the things you see breaking down with thyroid medicine? I'd like to address that topic today.
Great. We treat a lot of people with all kinds of hormone disorders, and especially thyroid, because it's an extremely common thing, especially for women. And we can often help if your doctor has prescribed thyroid medicine for you, but you just don't feel any better. So, or maybe you feel a little bit better, but your hair's still falling out, or your skin is really dry, or your bowels are still very sluggish. All of those are signs of thyroid problems. And of course, fatigue is a big one. A couple lesser known thyroid issues are depression and concentration issues like ADD, as well as just general poor energy. Just don't feel like you have a lot of get up and go. Especially if you wake up in the morning and you don't even feel like getting out of bed, that's often a thyroid issue. It's very important to remember that all the different hormones, which includes adrenal cortisol, insulin, your gonadal, your reproductive hormones, they're all like players in a symphony, and they all have to work together. So sometimes if you have an issue in one area like the thyroid, which is a gland in the neck here, that isn't even if you're taking the medicine, it's not working with the other players in the symphony, and that's sometimes why you're not getting the results that you need. Nutrition plays into all of the hormonal issues a lot, and one of the things with the thyroid is that about 80% of people who have thyroid problems actually have a type of autoimmune disease called Hashimoto's, or autoimmune thyroiditis. And the idea there is that it's autoimmune because the immune system is attacking the person's own body. This is actually probably not the case, because it doesn't make any sense that your body would be attacking itself. And what we find is that there may be toxins or infections, hidden infections that the person doesn't know about. So a common toxin, 97% of Hashimoto's thyroiditis, is actually caused by gluten sensitivity. So gluten is the protein that's found in wheat, barley, and rye. It's very, very common, particularly if you're of Northern European origin. And so that might be what's actually causing your thyroid problem. Hidden viruses like the Epstein-Barr virus that causes mononucleosis, that's another big cause of it. There are some other bacterial infections. And a lot of doctors, we're finding even the endocrinologists, never even check thyroid antibody levels to know whether the person is in the 80% that this is happening to or the 20% that it's not happening to. So we definitely check that. We also check several additional tests that a lot of doctors do not check. So the most common test that is checked is called TSH, which is actually a pituitary hormone from the gland under the brain called the master gland that affects all the other hormones. And it tells the thyroid to make two hormones called T3 and T4. T4 is the most common medication prescribed in the United States. It's something called levothyroxine, or there's a brand name, Synthroid is one of the brands. That is actually not the active hormone. The active hormone is made from the T4, and it's called T3. And so if you are taking levothyroxine, which is very common, but you don't feel better in whatever way, often there is a conversion issue and you're not able to convert the T4 into the T3. So we'll work with people about that conversion issue, and we're measuring both of those levels. We're also measuring what is called the free or active hormone in the body. So most hormones are carried around by a protein in the body. About 98% of them are stuck to the protein, which is too large to fit into the receptors on the cell, and so it doesn't really do anything. And only about 2% of the hormone is free and able to actually get inside the cell. If the hormone's not getting inside the cell, it's not doing you any good at all. And so we check another lab called the reverse T3 or RT3, which I call the blocking T3 because it's actually a mirror image of that active hormone T3, but it binds to the receptors and prevents the active hormone from penetrating into the cell to turn it on. And so I just saw a lady this week that her doctor had never addressed that before, and her number was sky high. So they keep raising your thyroid dose. The problem is that the T4, the levothyroxine dose, actually makes the reverse T3 worse. And so the treatment that they were giving her was actually causing more of the problem that was the fundamental root cause.
Wow. Dr. JP, are there any other signs that there might be a real thyroid problem that they need to look for? The indicators that say this could be it, and we're treating the wrong symptoms and not getting to the root cause?
Sure. One of the more common things that I find, particularly with women around menopause, is that they start to get all kinds of aches and pains. And these aches and pains in the body, sometimes there's brain fog where the brain is just not clicking in, hard to remember, hard to concentrate, that sort of thing. Those are often actually thyroid related. And so especially if you have Hashimoto's or autoimmune thyroiditis, those are the issues, the immune issues that are attacking the thyroid are actually attacking the whole body, everywhere, including the brain and the bones and joints and things like that. And so it's not something that's just confined to the thyroid, it's actually in the whole body. So this is why we want to look at all the symptoms.
And last, what does the thyroid do? If people don't know, just make sure we've answered it.
The thyroid is sort of like the gas pedal in your car. And so, I also call all the hormones are keys to turning on metabolism. So every kind of metabolism, this is burning energy, not only for your get up and go energy, but to make other hormones, to clean out toxins, to fight infections. All of that requires energy. So the mitochondria is the little engine in your cells that turns your food into energy. If that is sitting there and it has enough fuel, so it's got the gasoline because you eat and you have the fuel, but you don't have the key in the engine, it doesn't run. So the thyroid turns the engine on, and depending on how much there is, it's sort of like stepping on that gas pedal to get the car to take off and go where it's going.
Excellent, thanks. Well, if you found this useful, you can clearly find out where to get more information at Whole Health Solutions in Cary, Dr. JP, and also please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks. This was useful.